Hi, this is Wayne Bilal with another smart profit maximizing moment, and I apologize for being almost 5 minutes late. That's the latest I've been. Tech problems today. Couldn't seem to get my printout out on times, or even get my iPad to work, it seemed. Internet. So my apologies. Anyways, welcome to another. My name, like I said, is Wayne Bilal. I'm a local CPA. I work with small businesses. I am the founder of the CPA firm. Been since 1991. I've been the founder of the CPA firm and the creator of the Smart Profit Maximizing System, which what we're going to talk about today is the exact tool, and I use the things in the system and I tend to call them tools, the exact tactic, if you would like that word better, that I used personally myself to increase my profits last year by almost $90,000, a few $100 short, while having my sales go down by $40,000 by the power of focus and by knowing my numbers. Today we're going to talk about why you need to make sure all your products are cash cows. All right. All business owners know that not all products are created equally. All right. You have some that you make a lot of money on, you have and sell well. You have some you make a lot of money on, don't sell that well. Love live TV, live anything, to be honest about it. And then you have some that sell well, but you don't really make a lot of money on them. All right. It's amazing how many business owners don't really know what their products make the most money on. Matter of fact, if you know your profit numbers, statistically, you're in the top 2%. If you really know your product numbers, all right. At Magnolia Coca-Cola, we literally calculated the cost of the water because we had to purify the water. So there was a cost. It wasn't just turn on the faucet. We had a purification system. So we literally went that low to figure out what it cost us to create a case of regular Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, Dr. Pepper, whatever we were producing. All right. We were one of only 5 bottling companies that did not take a Coca-Cola deal because they were giving us some marketing funding for Diet Coke. The reason is when we did the calculation, it cost us 50 cents more a case to do a Diet Coke, and they were offering us 25 cents more to put Diet Coke on sale. And we already also knew our numbers on cannibalization. In other words, when we put Diet Coke on sale, how much does it cannibalize regular Coke, which we had a slightly higher profit margin. All right. And we were one of only 5 that must have had those numbers because we were the only ones that turned them down. They came to argue with us. We showed them our numbers, and they walked away. They didn't argue with us. Okay. Like I said, I apologize. What we want to be careful about is that we know what our numbers are. And I'll be honest, here's where the danger is. If you don't know your numbers, you're going to push items that don't have a high profit. Put them on sale, even cut the cost. You don't have a high profit, and you're not going to focus on items you have a very large cost on. All right. Let me tell you the starting point. The starting point is to calculate your gross profit by product. Right. Get an accountant if you need help, but it's really not very difficult if you just put a spreadsheet together and work on it. But you can have an accountant, CPA, me, whatever. You can hire me for a little while, and I can design it for you. I have for many others. All right. You start with the sales price of each product. The gross profit is an accounting term for sales price minus the cost of the product. That gets you gross profit. All right. Sales price of each product less the purchase price, and I'm saying product or service. I obviously sell a service. So, I made a calculation and was able to make a decision that I'll explain a little bit later that led to me making almost $90,000 more with less sales. All right. First, you start with the sales price, subtract the purchase price of the product, subtract the cost of labor from each product. Look, don't go crazy on that. All right. If you haven't been tracking labor costs, best thing to do, I worked with a florist. We asked them, how long does it take a typical florist to put together each one of your flowers? My brain just went away. Each one of your arrangements. I knew the word would come if I just kept being dumb here. And anyways, let's bake it back. I asked them how much each, the average, all right, person, their middle of the road, not their best, not their worst, but the middle of the road person would take to put together an arrangement. Now, anytime you're using an estimate, I use a simple rule of thumb. I usually increase it by 10%, because when they're estimating, they're always estimating how fast it would take them to do it, the owner. All right, and they're obviously usually pretty quick, not always. All right, so use your judgment on this. But that's one reason. The second reason is that by human nature, we always tend to think things are easier to do and faster than they're going to actually take to get done. So use a standard rate. Don't get crazy about it. This product has an hour, 2 hours. Our average cost is $10 an hour at 10% for taxes. All right, and that's where you're going to get. And truthfully, like I said, adjust internally. Make sure you also subtract from your sales price the cost of any outsourced work. All right, in today's world, it's not unusual for us to take part of our product and somebody else does part of the work because they can do it better. All right, and then the cost of any direct cost related to preparing the product for delivery or sale, freight, packaging, supplies, whatever else that goes into it. This equals your gross profit. Sound like a lot of work? I had a restaurant I was working with recently. It's actually been about 5 years ago now, so it's probably not that recently. Been in business since '91, so I guess it's in the latter part of that. We were sitting down and talking about this, and they looked at me and I went, I can't do that. Have you seen our menu? This is ridiculous. I'm not going to be able to do that. I said, fine. Take your top 10 selling items and just do those. All right. We set in a follow-up appointment for 2 weeks later. When they came back 2 weeks later, they had taken every item on their on their menu and had priced it out. I said, what happened? You told me it was going to be too much work. And they said, once we got started, we started to see things that bothered us. For example, we had things, and this is common. This is what everybody sees if they would do the work. We had items we were selling and pushing that we weren't making very much money on, and we had items that we weren't really doing any effort to push on that had high profit margins. So we wanted to see where we're at, and we adjusted our prices accordingly. All right? You want to get better at it, though? Go to what's called activity-based costing. All right? This is advanced product cost management. But let me give you an example of where this came in. I had a business owner who called me, and a commercial glass company, and he called me and said, I don't understand. I think there's problems in my bookkeeping because, but he says, but I'm afraid it's right because my cash balance is down. And I said, we had this new, and this was back in the late 90s, so it's probably standard stuff now. I have this new glass that does a better job stopping the heat coming in, in El Paso. A lot of heat in the summer, all right? So it cuts down the heat and the glare coming in with some sort of new glass, all right? So we put it on sale, sold our sales went up by 50%, our profits went down by 25%. So what the heck's going on? So we sat down and did the analysis I'm talking about, but we added a few things, all right? Activity-based costing starts from the very beginning to the very end. So what we added, we took the gross profit that we calculated before, we subtracted sales costs. This is the amount of time you and your sales staff spend to sell the product. It took a little more time for this, all right? We subtracted advertising costs because they put it on, they advertised that they were going to sell it. Obviously, the delivery and freight cost and the collection cost. And we took in, but, when we added these things plus the original, what we found out is that this particular product, the old product, all right, no, let's stick with this product. This product was a lot more expensive to put in. Because of the nature of it, it took about 3 to 4 hours to put in. It cannibalized almost 100% because it was a better product than the one they were using. But the other product took about an hour, and everybody in their place knew how to do it. All right. So what had happened is when they did it, they were actually losing 10% on every sale because their pricing wasn't where it needed to be to recover all their costs, not just their product cost. Okay. You have to get all their costs because that's a mistake people do. Here's what I sell it for. Here's what I buy it for. That's what I made. Yeah, it's fine, but you're forgetting labor. All right. And that was the biggest thing he forgot, and the freight and all the other stuff. All right. He wasn't costing it enough. So what had happened is that he took a product that he was already losing 10% on, put it on sale, sold almost twice as many, if I remember the product, maybe even 3 times as many, at a 20% loss instead of a 10% loss. And in the meantime, took one of his profitable products and cannibalized about 80% of it. This is what happens when you don't know your numbers, all right? So you need to focus on knowing your numbers. So a little homework. Calculate the gross profit for each of your products or services. If it's too much, 80-20 it. Right? And remember the 80-20 rule I talked about last week. Take the 20% of your products that equal 80% of your sales and at least do those. If even that's too many, take the top 10 to 20 selling ones, create it, and then hand that over to somebody to finish. Trust me, once you've done 10 to 20, you're going to be good enough and have a system down well enough to pass that on to one of your subordinates and have them finish it. All right? Get with a CPA if you don't know how to set this up. That every CPA knows how to do this. Trust me, just about. If they don't know how, find one who does. Give me a call. I mean, that'd be simple as that. All right? Do the activity-based costing to make sure there's no surprises in there, and then use the information. It's not just an exercise in getting something done. Use the information to set prices and decide what products or services to present to your prospects. How did I use it? I told you I'd get to that. Bookkeeping is something that every CPA firm has some of. We still have a little bit of it, but I basically have eliminated 90% of our bookkeeping at the beginning of last year. Scary. I knew it was going to drop my sales. All right. Didn't drop it as much because I was able to focus on things that made me more money without the headaches of supervising an area that has a low profit margin, but still takes time. All right. And if you provide a service, the most valuable commodity you have is your time and your knowledge. Those are the two things you're selling. You're selling time and you're selling your knowledge. Value the time in particular so that you can use the knowledge to help your customers solve their problem. And that's what I did. And that's how it increased my bottom line by almost $90,000 while actually not handling the stuff that's a real pain in the butt. Hey, this is Wayne Bilal. Until next time, let's make this our most profitable year ever. Thank you very much.